have a trial, but if you don't have a pure heart about what you're about to do here, then that's not justice. And the one thing that we require and strive toward is all of our citizens getting justice when they come before our court. So we have we've implemented some processes to help people, and I'll let Judge Story talk about her flagship project. Go ahead.
One of the things that we have brought to the court and we serve as a venue for is the Traffic Violators Impact Program. And this is essentially a driver improvement course that individuals that are charged with citations can take. And many times we will mandate that those individuals take that class. Essentially, that class was brought about by a former police officer that has seen many teenagers have many different wrecks and different issues. And so he wanted to come up with a program that teenagers and young drivers could attend that would address some of these issues. And many times he was also on the scene when individuals had fatalities and that type of thing. So he has pictures of those individuals, and then he would give stories about what happened with those individuals that caused the fatality in their case. So it's a very powerful program. It started when I was a prosecutor. I served as a prosecutor before I was a judge. I served as a prosecutor here in DeKalb County, and I served over a diversion program. And I found out about the TVIP, or the Traffic Violators Impact Program, and brought it to the prosecutors to watch. And they saw that it was worthwhile, and we thought that it was worthwhile to bring it to Division A. And so when I became a judge in Division B, because traffic violations are what we typically handle, I thought that it was important for it to be in Division B. So it's there once every quarter in Division B now.
All right, so folks negotiate, they come up with a deal, and ultimately it's the judge's responsibility to close the case out, to accept the case, to accept the recommendation, or to modify that and make adjustments to what the state has recommended. So we must do that we must do mercy with justice and common sense at the same time. And so when doing, what does doing the right thing require of judges in circumstances that are uncommon? So what we've done is, oftentimes people come, they want to resolve their case, they want to pay their fine, and they just don't simply have the money at that time. Now, DeKalb County is very fortunate in that we have what's called a public probation program. Most of these smaller counties and cities that I showed you in the white areas and the red areas, most of that's private probation, which means that those counties pay these private companies a fee to monitor these individuals who are on probation in lieu of being in a jailhouse somewhere. And oftentimes, complaints are that there's difficulty in reaching the probation officers, or that the fee structures are too high, etc. So we're very, very fortunate in DeKalb County that we have a well-run probation system, and we do our best to try to help you get your cases concluded before going to probation here in DeKalb, as well as it's run, because when you do have to go, then you do have to pay an additional probation supervision fee. So what we have developed in Division B is what's called a sentence compliance order. So say, for example, if your fine is $360 at the conclusion of your court sentence, and you just don't have it, you have to pay rent, you just have to buy new tires, we're going to give you 2 to 6 weeks in order to pay that. And we're going to put you on a calendar, 2 to 6 weeks out. And then if you pay that fine online, by telephone, or at the cashier window prior to that time, then your case terminates. And then you have to do nothing else. But if you don't pay by that time, you are to return to court. then you are assigned to the Office of Probation, and then they take over responsibility for your case. You still have to pay that underlying fine, but you also have to pay that probation supervision fee to that agency as well. And so again, I've already touched on the probation issues and the laws. Again, probation is to avoid incarceration, to avoid you having to be in prison while this matter is being, while your debt to society, so to speak, is being paid off. You still get to stay out, have your freedom, and function on behalf of yourself and your families. And also,
But a lot of individuals do not want to go on probation. If you give individuals a choice, they would say, I don't want probation, is there a different way? And the different way that Division B has come up with is individuals will put you on what's called the post-sentence compliance calendar. So we'll go ahead and adjudicate your case, but require that your sentence be paid or your fine be paid at a different date. And what I usually do is I will ask individuals, when can you pay the fine? And many times it's when I get paid in 2 weeks, or when I get paid in 4 weeks or 6 weeks. And 6 weeks is the maximum time that I will give individuals to pay their fine without having to go on probation. Because like I said, many people just don't want to be on probation for all of the things that it implies to individuals. So we think that it's a really good thing to do post-sentence compliance instead of probation for those individuals that need it.
and so you're unable to pay your probation, and the judge sees that putting you in a position to have to pay your fine and probation is just not going. Then we can resort to another process called community service, where you can go and work off that fine with a nonprofit agency that's been approved by the county, and a number of requisite hours that's commensurate with what your fine is, so that you can pay your debt in a manner that's non-monetary. So what happens when even that won't work? When your best efforts aren't enough and you still have to come up with a good solution for that individual? I personally had individuals who came to court. One young man was leaving for Air Force basic training the next week, so he didn't have time, he didn't have the money to pay, he didn't have time to work it out with community service or probation. There was one young man who had been incarcerated for a number of years in another jurisdiction on other charges, and then he was trying to get his life together, came back to our court, and then was faced with $3,000 in fines from old cases that he just didn't have the money to pay. There was another young man being raised by his grandmother. He didn't have any money, she didn't have any money, and so I asked them all, I said, well, what can you do? Can you paint? Can you clean? And I took my pressure washer over to the courthouse on the weekend and gave them some scrub brushes and paint, and allowed them to work that off over a couple of Saturdays, only one Saturday, so that we could then close their case out, in a manner where they have served their debt to the Cobb County. So you always have to figure out a better way to do things to effect justice, and justice comes in many, many shapes and forms.
One of the best things to do to make sure that justice is served is that we need to have the cooperation of the prosecutor. Like I said, I served as a prosecutor, and it really does help when the prosecutor does have mercy in their heart, and they're also concerned about making sure that justice is achieved. And as long as that is the case, they are working in concert with the court because that is always the goal.
And how much time, Commissioner, are we tight? We're tight. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up. We're gonna be here. If anyone has any other questions for us, these next slides are talking about individuals who are pro se, who want to represent themselves. Everyone has the right to have an attorney to assist them. Most attorney, a lot of them are in the gray area and don't qualify for the public defender to represent them. And so when they do come to court to represent themselves, we have to give them the information to know that they'll be still held to the same standard as an attorney if they go to a trial. And we try to give them other list of other lawyers who may represent them on what's called a low bono basis. So just continue to be mindful of cell phone use. It is a violation of the Georgia law to hold and use a cell phone while you're driving. I see it 5 times a day just going to and from the courthouse, and it's still killing people, ladies and gentlemen. But if you do find yourself being cited with one of those, if you take if you go and purchase a hands-free device and take that into court, you are entitled to a one-time dismissal for that particular infraction. And the other thing that we want to say to you here, our DeKalb seniors, we recognize that it's not convenient physically or financially for some of you to get to the courthouse and have to stand and wait in line if you need to come see us. So because we are back in full-time service at the courthouse, we still are maintaining some virtual calendars for various circumstances. And some of those circumstances are for you who don't want to get out in the cold and stand in a line for an hour. You can simply go to your center director here. We're giving you an email address and a telephone number. Simply email that number or call that number. We will put you on a virtual calendar and on a date set so that the judge's staff and the prosecutor will be available to speak to you virtually and to begin to resolve your case. And so that's our commitment. That's going to be something that is going to be ongoing, because one thing that came out of the pandemic was that we can do things a better way. And you can be in 2 places at one time and help us improve the lives of our citizens. So one of the things that judges do, we also engage in helping shape legislation and the laws, and we'll continue to do that. Judge Story, tell them what committees you're on.
I currently serve on the Educational Committee of the Georgia Council of State Court Judges, and that is essentially a committee that is charged with making sure that judges all over the state are educated on best practices to employ to everyone that comes before them.
And I serve on the Legislative Task Force and Strategic Planning. So again, that's our time. We're over time. We thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw. We thank all of you for taking the time to come out and hear us, and do not hesitate to call on us for assistance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Judge Story and Ramsey, for that presentation. All right, next up, we have Chris Kingsbury here, who is our program manager for SPLOST.
Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. It's about a 144-page report. I saw Isaac Blathers walk in. He's your District 4 Citizens Oversight Group representative. We brief them and the board every other month. So probably an hour-long show here. Steve ran out the door. I scared him away. But really quickly, I think everyone hopefully by now knows what SPLOST is, but sometimes I talk to my neighbors and they're like, I didn't know we had extra sales tax, and what's my property tax bill again? In this digital age, I guess we're just not, I'm old fashioned. I washed up here 50 years ago. I went to Towers High School, but I guess I'm a young senior. You don't get paper receipts to look at them anymore, so people don't pay attention to it. So the SPLOST program started in 1985, state of Georgia, recognized local governments needed money for capital improvements, buildings, trucks, parks, libraries, courthouses. So it's an extra penny for just capital improvements. You can't use it for operations or maintenance. And Gwinnett County was the first metro county to implement a SPLOST the same year the General Assembly said you could do it. So Gwinnett's on SPLOST 11. We're on SPLOST 1. And what's it gotten us? Well, just in District 4, we had a couple of ribbon cuttings this summer and fall. This is a little pocket park, countywide. We've done about 24 of these around the county. This is happens to be Washington Park off of Jordan Lane, kind of runs between North Decatur and gosh, I forget the other side street. But these are great little additions. A lot of the parks in DeKalb County, full disclosure, in 1987, I was working as a consultant for the county. Y'all may remember, we passed a library and bond program, $66 million. Libraries got half, parks got half. So a lot of the things the SPLOST program has let us do is go back into those 30-plus-year-old parks and replace worn-out player equipment, worn-out picnic shelters. So these are popular neighborhood items. Right around the corner, Wade Walker is one of the premier county athletic facilities. Again, it was expanded with dollars from the 87 bond program that enabled the county to buy the property that was partially donated by the Walker family. And so active right now, and I saw Jackie Steele walked in, she's part of our SPLOST management team. We've got a large group of firms, a team of folks that help the county implement projects. So SPLOST dollars are kind of unique. They're separate from the county budget. You go to the store, you pay your tax, you buy your gas, buy your groceries. The store sends their sales tax dollars off to the state of Georgia, and then every month the state sends the dollars back. DeKalb is a little unique in that we have a 6-year SPLOST because all the local governments, Mayor Hammond, everybody else, signed an agreement that said we're all on board with the SPLOST program. So the state sends the distribution to each of the 12 municipalities based on their population and unincorporated DeKalb based on their population. So we're responsible for helping the county with that extra dollars. We're just kind of extra staff the county has brought on board. So Parks Department doesn't have to worry about implementing these new projects from planned construction while also trying to keep the grass mowed and the trash picked up. So some of the projects in Wade Walker, if you go out there, we've finished up several of the multi-purpose fields. There's one giant field we just finished. It's striped for both soccer and football. It's a synthetic turf. Don't have to fertilize it, don't have to water it. It's a great scheduling advantage for the county. There's a baseball field that's getting the same treatment that's under construction. You see these giant rolls of turf. Interesting side, almost all the artificial turf in the world is produced in North Georgia and Taunton area. This happens to be a Shaw carpet product. So, big dollars. In 1986, in 2016, when the county was planning their first SPLOST, the staff said, based on we've been paying them hard tax and we kind of know historical trends in the state, and the county folks got together and said, we think we're going to get about $388 million. We're going into the last year of SPLOST collections. First penny came in April 1st, April Fool's Day, 2018. So to date, we've actually got $378 million. So we're right on the head of projections. And of course, the money sits in the bank because SPLOST is pay as you go. There are 3 absolute rules with SPLOST programs. You have to wait for the money to come in. You don't bid a project until you've got the money in the bank. Because if you start projects with SPLOST dollars, you have to finish them with SPLOST dollars. So we're in SPLOST 1. And SPLOST 1 will have some legs that carry over, and whether or not the citizens decide to impose another SPLOST tax on ourselves, the SPLOST 1 program stays SPLOST 1. SPLOST 2 program will move on with new sets of capital projects. So everything we started in SPLOST 1, we've got to finish with the dollars we collected, which the last one will roll in March 31st, 2024. So those are sort of and then the third thing is they have to be for capital improvements. So we work closely with the administration staff to make sure we don't build something we can't operate, right? You don't want to build a new park but not be able to have the staff to run it, or build a new library, not have the staff to operate it. And because we've got money in the bank, all of us have realized inflation has done two things. It's driven up the interest rates, so the county's making a lot of interest every month on the money we're holding to implement SPLOST projects, which is just barely allowing us to keep up with the extra cost of what we have to pay for. Concrete, asphalt, steel, wood, everything's gone up exponentially, as you all are aware. So it looks like that as this program winds down, we could get about $50 million over our original projections. But I can say, as I told the board last week when we did our bi-monthly briefing, that should allow us to get close to finishing everything we wanted to start, everything we wanted to have done in SPLOST 1. And one of the key things SPLOST program, when it started, administration CEO said, the county has a 20% commitment to local small businesses. It's gender and race neutral, but we want local businesses in DeKalb to have a major role. And Jackie Still, I mentioned, she's a local small business who's on our team helping provide construction management. But program-wide, all the projects we've led, $250+ million, $100+ million has gone to local small businesses. Everything from painters to grading contractors to resurfacing contractors. 40 total contracts with 71 LSPE subs. And the participation rate is around 40%. And we were asked at the board last week, how do you know those folks got paid that money? Well, one of our jobs as a manager is we look at every invoice that comes in from the general contractor, and we see what the percentage is that he's paying to his various local subs, and we see the checks go back out. We audit that every month. So that 40%, while that was the number that they committed to when they bid the project, when we close the projects out, it's going to be pretty close to that number. And then everybody wants resurfacing. That was a big driver why SPLOST got passed. It's the biggest portion of the budgets, over 40%. And I can say in just District 4 alone, we're about 70% through the roads that in 2016 were the worst that the administration brought forward. And it was a 300 plus or minus mile list. We chiseled away at that, led 11 contracts, 7 are 100% complete, and each average about 25 miles. There's 4 active, which will finish up 100 miles. When we're all done sometime next fall, we will have resurfaced 277 miles. So with inflation and everything else, that's pretty close to that 300-mile target. And for this district, same thing, we're about 71%. There were 277 individual street segments for about 72 miles, and we've paved about 54, 55 miles out of that list. And that's all I've got to say about SPLOST. And like everybody else, we'll be around at the end of the meeting to take questions.
Thank you, Chris. Now we're going to move to the section of our agenda where we will introduce to you the various department representatives. And there are some of you that are scattered in the seating out here, and I would appreciate it if you would come forward, and because we'll have mics up here. So we'll start on the end. Major, would you introduce yourself and anybody else that's here representing DeKalb Police?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Some of those are pretty hard acts to follow. I don't have a pretty presentation, so I'll be quick. I am here representing Tucker Precinct and also cover for Major Barron, who could be here today if there's an emergency. He's pretty safe. He's wandering about doing what he does best, and that's just communicating with people. So I just have a couple of things to cover, I guess, and a lot of it was covered through the courts and Commissioner Bradshaw as well. You know, like him, we see a lot of the negative emails and negative comments, the news media streams and all that kind of stuff that makes our profession look bad in a lot of cases. But we push forward through that as well. Every day, these guys are out here, men and women that are out right now serving and protecting to make sure that what you all get to experience is the best quality of life that we can help you to get to. That's a culmination of everything that's done here. That's not just us, that's sanitation, that's the sheriff's department, that's roads and drainage, that is the code and compliance, and all these different entities working together to try to do the best we can. So a lot of the stuff that you see that you don't like, you're not the only one that sees it. we're also trying to do the best we can to get it fixed, but we do ask you guys to bear with us, because it does take time. Nothing is done overnight. To their point on citations, please don't wait for a ticket to try to figure out how to fix your problem. Don't wait for a ticket to get a free pass because you were holding your phone when you could have got a hands-free device. They are absolutely correct. Fatalities are a huge problem. You're more likely to die in a car than you are by pretty much any other means. And that is greatly attributed to people not paying attention, not following simple rules of the road. So don't be surprised when you're stopped by a police officer and given a citation because you're driving too fast, or because you're not paying attention, or because you ran a red light. Don't get mad at the officer for doing their job. They're here to try to protect you. They're here to reduce those traffic fatalities, and unfortunately, the only way to do that is to stop the people that are doing that. Understand that if you're stopped for anything, if you're involved in a domestic violence case, the officer makes an arrest based off probable cause. That's it. They make the arrest. They're not saying you're guilty. They're not saying you're innocent. They're saying it happened. We have to take this to the next level. And the courts and the judges and the attorneys who do the best that they can to adjudicate those cases and assess a penalty that's appropriate for the situation. So I say all that to say, don't wait for us to do something on your own. This is a partnership. We can't do it on our own, and we can't expect you to do it on your own. So work with us and we'll work with you. I ask you simply that you guys follow us on social media. We have a Facebook page, InstaFace, Instagram, whatever you want to call it. It's the DeKalb County Police Department. It's a great site. We post a lot of what we do. We post a lot of the upcoming meetings for those that were at the Senior Summit that was held this past week. There's a great attendance for that. We are going to hold 3 more of those in the next couple of months. And we also are going to be hosting some other events. And of course, we have Coffee with a Cop and things like that happens every single month. Every precinct in this county runs probably 4 meetings at the minimum per month. So if you're not making one of those, don't get mad that you don't hear from us because we're here. So we want you guys to work with us and we'll work with you. Overall, I think the most important thing I can say for Tucker Precinct specifically is we have an overall reduction in violent crimes. Okay, that's the crimes against persons. Those are the ones that we're talking about: sexual assaults, aggravated assaults, things like that. We do see an increase in property crimes. You guys have seen it in the news. Vehicle break-ins are always the biggest concern. Those are generally perpetrated by very small groups of people. We ran a big operation that included a lot of District 4, where we identified 29 people responsible for over a couple hundred vehicle break-ins. Not to mention nearly 50 stolen vehicles, I think it was. I had exact numbers in front of me, but loads and loads of those things. We identified 29 of those people in a matter of a month, the rest of 27. I'd say that's pretty good. Thank you. So I'll end that by saying, what can you guys do in addition to working with us? Make sure you are registering your cameras. If you have home surveillance systems, if your HOA or your POA or your neighborhood association has some form of cameras, register it. ConnectDeKalbCounty.org is a great place to register those cameras through the Fuchsia system, F-U-S-U-S. I have some information on that if you'd like after the meeting we can discuss. But register your cameras there. If you don't have flock and you want flock in your neighborhood, those are license plate readers. We partner with those. Those things are great investigative tools for us. Nobody is monitoring what you're doing. We don't want to know when you went to Kroger last. We don't want to know when you went to your girlfriend or your boyfriend's house. We don't care. All we want to know is your car stolen and are you wanted? Those are the 2 things that we look for in that system. We use that a lot. Just the other day, we were able to arrest a carjacking suspect by utilizing that system. So that's what we're looking for. We're not looking to see what you do. We don't. I'll be honest with you. We don't care. Do you, will do us. So please continue to partner with us and just be, like I said, just being patient with us, be on next door. That's really all I have.
Thank you, Major Harden. And if you need more information and details about the meetings that Major Harden just mentioned, of course, we provide that information in our newsletter. There's a wealth of information in our newsletter. If you're not currently getting it and on Monday you want to know when the next meetings are, just be in touch with our office and we'll make sure you get that information. And then I just want to add to the last comments you were making about flock cameras. Flock cameras are something that the administration, police department have really aligned themselves together on, and District 4, we're very pleased about that. Commissioner Bradshaw was one of the first commissioners to take funding from his discretionary dollars to put flock cameras in District 4. So it has taken off because other districts saw, oh, this is a good tool for the police department, and it's a good thing that the county at large is now implementing and putting flock cameras throughout the county.
And if I could just say, it's a great tool for us, absolutely. It's an investigative tool for us. But it's more importantly, it's a good tool for you. For you in your community. It isn't about helping us, it's about helping yourself. Yes, help us, but help yourself. We help those who help themselves, right? So if you want to put a camera in your neighborhood, advertise it. It's not a secret.
Right.
It is not a secret. We have cameras. Don't come here. Go somewhere else. That's where it works. Thanks.
I see a hand back there, but we'll get to you during Q&A when we have a mic. Director Hutchinson, you're up.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. I am Tracy Hutchison. I'm the Director of Sanitation and Beautification, and thank you for the invitation to be here this morning. So sanitation, we just wrapped up the summer. You know, our employees are happy that the 100 degrees are behind us, and this is the first summer, I would say in 19 years, I did not have an employee to fall out due to the heat. So that's a good thing on our behalf, because at least once every summer, at least one employee due to dehydration. They don't drink enough fluids while they're out in the back of the trash truck. So we're glad to see the fall weather come through. Just want to go over one most important thing that we have been dealing with a lot in sanitation, which is the trees. But before I start with the trees, just want to remind everyone that we have the Thanksgiving holiday coming up. We actually got Veterans Day this week coming up. Veterans Day is going to be on a Friday, and our service from Monday through Thursday, so it's not going to affect the residential collection service. For Thanksgiving, we are off. The county is closed Thanksgiving Day. Sanitation works that Friday. Only the crews are Jersey residents that have garbage for that Thursday. Our offices are not going to be open. I'm assuming you guys are not going to be there, correct?
No, ma'am.
So the crews will be there on Friday to actually pick up their residents that service. They got their garbage for that Thursday. Christmas, we normally do. So Christmas, we got Monday. If your garbage serves that Monday, we pick you up that Tuesday. So that week, we will run Tuesday through Friday, okay? And we still have some calendars available. I cannot believe it's already November, the year has gone by. We still have some calendars available. I did bring some with me. They are outside on Robin's desk, so please make sure that you get a calendar. But we're down to our last few holidays for the year. But just please make sure I talk about is the special collection fees. We still have a lot of residents that basically are just not really understanding the fees. So the fees have gone up. How we did business and sanitation just even a couple of years ago is not how we do business today. So the special collection fees, if you get this form right here, this requires you to pay a fee for sanitation to return to pick those items up. The biggest thing that we're dealing with right now due to the weather, we've had a lot of storms that have been hovering over. We have had, a drought going on with the amount of rain. Residents are proactively taking down trees, and your trees are just unsafe. You take it down the trees. Well, a picture that we found in a resident's house, you want sanitation to come back and pick this up. We're not the tree cutting service. We service a roll cart at the curb of your house. So when you are looking for these companies to come in and cut down these trees, it's really good to get that company, speak to that company about removing and cutting that tree down to smaller parts. Taking that tree away while you have the contractor on site. For whatever reason, the tree contractors in the cab tell the residents, oh, call the cab sanitation, they'll pick it up for you. We won't pick the trees up. If they're only, we will pick them up, but it's gotta be another fee. And now the cost of to pick the trees up, the minimum cost for to pick up the trees is $200. If we pick up one load, it's $450. And the trees have to be cut. We don't have material and equipment to cut this type of stump. We don't have material and equipment to cut that tree up. The tree contractor that left had the house with this stuff sitting there, with the holidays coming up, nobody wants this in front of their house. So the sanitation department, we get a lot of phone calls. Commissioner Bradshaw office get a lot of phone calls about trees. So we are the sanitation department. When you have weather, bad weather come through, roads and drainage handles a lot of the tree issues. Now, if you have a tree or some branches that's overgrown, it's a safety hazard, it's at a stop sign, preventing you from, being safe, call my department, beautification, we'll come out there and we'll trim that back for you. But we don't take down trees in beautification either. But will we be there to actually assist? If you got overgrown areas need to be cut back on the county right away, we don't come onto private property, but we will come out there, we will take care of that. We will escalate that because we want you to be safe. So if you got any issues like that, beautification has a phone line. That number is 404-294-2010. And I have an employee, her name is Danielle Brown. She answers the phone from 8 to 4:30. If you got an escalation as far as safety go, we will hire a contractor immediately to come out there and trim those trees back so you can see the stoplight, you can see the stop sign, whatever the case is. If you walking down the side, especially if you got the kids walking down the sidewalk, the trees are falling over their heads, stuff like that, no issue, we will escalate that and we'll get that taken care of immediately. There are some things that we'll just escalate up to the top. Anything concerning safety, we don't want kids in the street trying to walk around that they can't safely walk down the sidewalk. We do not want that. So we will escalate that as quickly as we can. But please be sure that as we come, I think one of our #1 phone calls that we're getting right now. We are kind of accustomed to getting the phone calls for the evictions. It's either the marshal eviction or the renter, the homeowner that owns the house, the renter moved out in the middle of the night, and then he got to come out and put the whole house to the curb. So we're kind of used to those phone calls, but we have a huge uptick in the tree calls now. And the trees have become a huge issue before the truck comes out. The collectors are not going to pick this up. The collectors are going to pick up your roll cart, your recycling cart that's at the curb. They're not going to pick this material up. So just want to make that very, very clear. I need to be really quick, so I know we got watershed to go. The approved and the not approved containers. We're servicing the Cobb County roll carts only. So if you got the 95-gallon roll cart, the blue recycling roll cart, that's what we're going to service. If you go to Home Depot and Lowe's and put these other carts out, we're not servicing those carts. If you need a second roll cart, please come to my office. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. The lobby is open, and get a second roll cart. The second roll cart will increase your sanitation assessment fee. Your sanitation assessment fee is on your annual tax, it's on your tax bill. I think your bill come out twice a year. Well, you got the assessment and the bill come out. I think, can you do one payment or 2 payments in the cab? Two, okay. It's on your bill. I don't live in the cab, I live just right outside the cabin with that. Cart, come to the office, get a second roll cart. Bags is a special collection fee. If you got carpet, if you got C&D material, that's a special collections fee. If you got one mattress or one box spring, that's included in your assessment fee that you pay. If you got a chair, if you got a sofa, that's included in your assessment fee. The bigger item, the furniture is included in assessment fee. The excess bags, if you got 10 excess bags sitting outside your roll cart, we're not gonna pick those up. That's a $100 minimum fee. Or come to sanitation and get a second roll cart. So please be sure that visit our website. We spend a lot of time on our website to make sure it's up to date, very, very clear. I think it's very, very important that residents have the information that they need to make sure they have a clear understanding. We're there in the neighborhoods every week, 52 weeks out the year. We're probably the most visible department in the entire county, the hardest working department in the entire county. But please be sure that everything is ready to go when the collectors get there. And lastly, I just wanted to say a thank you to the mayor of Pine Lake, Mayor Hammond. I don't know if she's still back there or not. She left. So the mayor came to us some years ago, so Stone Mountain also, I don't know, council, came to us some years ago. They had the private sector in and approached the CAF sanitation about us providing a service for them. But we have built such a good relationship with the council folks over there, the mayor over there. Thank you guys, because you guys had with us. But it's my goal that sanitation, good customer service to all residents, no matter, as Commissioner Bradshaw has said, north, south, black, white. We don't discriminate against zip codes. Trash is trash. And y'all want us to pick it up. So it doesn't matter what side of town you're on, we just gotta look at the trash. And if this trash is stink on the north side, it stink on the south. So, it is my goal to provide good customer service to all residents of the county. And again, thank you all for the invitation for coming this morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Eva, I'm looking at the time, and I just wanted to alert folks that we are probably going to go over our 11 o'clock hour because we do want to give you an opportunity to ask questions, time frame that we have set on the agenda. So I'll ask my upcoming speakers if they can help us with the time management, and I will introduce Director David Hayes.
Good morning. I'll be brief, as she said, we're lack of time. I'm Director of Watershed Management, David Hayes. It's an honor to direct and a team of about 700 individuals that provide water and sewer service to you. We currently produce or deliver to homes and businesses about 70 million gallons of drinking water per day, and we collect just at 36 million gallons per day of wastewater and treat that and put it back into the rivers and streams for other people to use downstream. Unlike sanitation, we are 24/7. We don't get holidays off, but we have a great team of people and individuals that pride on producing the best drinking water in the state of Georgia, and we do provide a great deal of good service. That being said, we have about pipe in the ground. A great deal of this pipe is some pipe as old as 80 to 90 years of age. With the support of the commissioners, Commissioner Bradshaw, and the direction of the CEO, I can proudly say that Watershed has been very aggressively trying to update, replace this aged infrastructure to improve our services to you. And over since 2017, we have made leaps and bounds. We've replaced more than 100,000 miles of water pipe in the ground. We've replaced over 150,000 linear foot of sewer pipe in the ground. And we still have a great deal to go. But I have a great team who are working very hard to replace this infrastructure and to give you the quality of water that you so deserve. So thank you for being patient with us as we're undergoing all of this construction. We're opening your roads and the front of your houses. That's a little painful at the time, but again, it's for a good cause because what we're doing is going to allow the CAB to continue to grow, and it's going to allow us to continue to provide service to you for another 50 to 70 years. Thank you.
Thank you. I got my code compliance representatives here. Who's speaking? You can come forward. Thank you. I'm going to pass the mic to you too.
Am I going to be able to talk about problem I've been having?
Yes, ma'am.
Not being resolved and
Yes.
I don't wanna take-
We're going to get to Q&A.
I really,
There you go.
Just
Good morning. My name is Graylin Benefield, and I'm the new supervisor for the corridor team of code compliance. What the corridor team does is that we inspect businesses to make sure that they are in compliance with everything in regards to whether they have business license or they have any code violations as well. Corridor team, excuse me, the corridor team was formed in 2019. We made some progress, but we still have a lot of things to do. One of the things the corridor team does now is not only do we inspect businesses, but we are also involved in the video surveillance program. Some of you all probably have already heard about. We're looking forward to completing that program for this year, as we just started June 30th of this year in regards to the video surveillance program. And we're also looking to do other things in regards to what we are involved in the corridor aspect of businesses. And that's about all I have to say. Oh yeah, I do need to introduce Senior Officer Torres. He's a member of my team. And we also have Officer Dixon. He's a part of the residential team here.
What's your contact information?
My personal number, county number I should say, is 404-392-0002. You can reach me at DeKalbCounty@DeKalbCounty.gov.
All right, we're just gonna come on in line. Hi, good morning. My name is Deborah Furtado with Human Services, representing Damon Scott, our director, who cannot be here today. So, Human Services, we provide services for youth all the way to seniors, and Jessica's going to tell you more about this building. But a couple updates from Human Services. We also manage the grants for DeKalb County. So we're in the final stages. We've finished our process, actually. Over 50 nonprofits, including those that provide victim assistance services. We'll be recommending those to the commission in the next few meetings, I think, that are coming up. Also, we have a major intergenerational volunteer tutoring program in DeKalb County, where we partner with United Way in the school district and also AARP. That program will be starting December 1st, a little bit later this year, but it's a great program. Been able to help over 70% of the students that participate K through 3rd grade have increased 1 or 2 grade levels of reading. So it's very important because that's a real issue for us in the county, when only less than 30% of the kids K through 3rd are reading at grade level. So very important. Also on our youth services, our new youth commission will be approved, I think, by the end of the year. So that's exciting. Youth representing all the high schools in DeKalb County. So without further ado, Jessica, you want to tell them about this beautiful center that we share with Parks and Rec?
Sure, I'll keep it brief. I see a lot of familiar faces in here, so shout out to the seniors. I just wanted to just inform you all that we are opening up membership. So now we have membership for all of the seniors in the county that are eligible for membership, that meet the membership requirements. So the requirements for membership is that you must be 60 or older, must be independent and active, and have the ability for self-care, of course, be a resident of the county, and pay the required membership fees. So we are welcoming all seniors here in the building. I have a table set up out here that will provide you more information, so I know y'all happy to hear that. I am too. So I have a table out here for more information about our programming schedule, some things that we have planned for the month. So I'll be on hand to answer any questions for you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Daryl Blackwell. I work for the Community Development Department, and my director, Alan Mitchell, wants to give all of you his regards for the great work and for all the citizens of DeKalb County, as well as the great Commissioner, Stephen Bradshaw, and the CEO, and for the great work that has been happening for many years. Our community development, we built this beautiful building along with contractors. It's a great building. We build senior centers, we build parking lots, we build parks and rec facilities, we just do a lot of different things. But the main thing that we do is we get input from the community. So these buildings, we want you to enjoy them. We want you to, from whether you're 5 years old or 9 years old, we want you to continue to be alive and be vibrant. So thank all of you very much, and stay tuned for more projects as we move forward. Thank you.
Dr. Kimball? Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Kimball. I am a Special Projects Manager for Planning and Sustainability. I'm actually here on behalf of our Director, Cedric Hudson, and I'm here with my lovely... Wow. Okay, so I'm here with Ms. Liddell Mitchell, who's the Customer Service Administrator. So we do all of the permits, business licenses, and we also work hand in hand with code compliance, as well as Alicia and Commissioner Bradshaw. We focus heavily on the late night establishment task force. We focus on the hotel motel and multifamily, which you all know as apartment complexes. We work on that, and we also work with the Memorial Drive task force as well. So be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we get everybody that's representing at the DeKalb County Department? I think we did. All right, so now we're gonna go to Q&A, and I got you. We're gonna go to this gentleman back here who had his hand up earlier, and we're gonna do this orderly, and I am holding the mic.
Thank you. My biggest question is, if we wanted to get and I now forget the name of the camera systems in our communities, I think that's phenomenal. I think that's a way that we can all be vigilant. Who do we contact, and how is that funded?
Okay, so I can answer most of that. So that is community funded youth. That is something that you do in your own HOA or your own home. But connectdecabcounty.org is the website. That kind of links you to what's called the FUSUS system, F-U-S-U-S. And what that does is let you register the cameras that you may have in your community. Registration is free, costs nothing to register. If you would like to share that feed live, kind of like a real-time crime center kind of deal, you can do that. That is based on the number of cameras you have. It's a very small fee depending on the number of cameras you have, but that's all done through that company. Flock is the other one that does license plate readers. That can be found at Flock. And then you'll get a representative from the company that will go over what you can get. And then once it's put on live, we basically get the information from the company saying, hey, this camera's live, and that feed is automatically shared with us immediately. There is an annual cost to those. It has changed somewhere around $3,000, I think now, for the annual cost on a single Flock camera. Fuchsia's cameras or whatever camera you own, it is what it is. It's a $100 camera, it's a $100 camera. So hope that answers your question.
All right, we got a question over here.
Yes.